views and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello and welcome everybody to Scarefest Television. Little audio glitch there. Compliments of Windows Update. Everybody, this is original broadcast date March 20th, 2026. And tonight, Joanna Hochstetter is my co-host once again. And our guest tonight is the lovely and talented Lisa Wilcox, who by now is convinced this is an amateur operation if there ever was one. Go ahead and leave her up on screen. Bring me back in with her. Okay, I'm gonna jump right into it and ask your opinion. I'm having trouble with my beard. I am using Just for Men, and it won't dye the sides. Should I just go down to goatee, or should I take the gray?
Goatee.
Goatee it is. I'm very easy to get along with. Everybody, of course, everybody knows who Lisa Wilcox is. If you don't know who she is, you probably never watched the show once in your life, so I'm not going to worry about too big of an introduction there. Okay, I warned you ahead of time. Here's my thing. I've been watching your movies like around the clock for the last 7 days. New ones, old ones, all kinds.
Oh, my land.
Yes. Everybody,
okay.
go on IMDb and pull her up. You can have a Lisa Wilcox Film Festival easily. But some of your newer work.
And even go to Amazon Prime, go to Netflix, and just go to the search and put in my name, because I have a ton of stuff.
I don't trust that.
Probably isn't even on listed on IMDb, but there's like a dozen things I've done very recently. So just
and you got like
search me on, those
points. You've got like a 24 coming out like in the next year or two. Sounds like you've been a busy woman.
Yeah.
But okay, a lot of your recent work, your credit is done as mom, mother. I don't think, have these directors and writers even seen you before you do these movies? You are way too hot to be playing everybody's mother in these movies.
Well, it's, listen, I've played everything from nuns to prostitutes.
I know.
Okay. All over the map. And it really is a matter of wardrobe and makeup and how my hair is done and all of that. But thank you. I appreciate the hot word. I do appreciate that.
Okay, now, here's a surprise. I have a lot of filmmakers that watch this show. Well, I have like 2 or 3. But the point is, I want someone out there to do a screenplay targeted for her. Now, here's I'm going to storyboard it for you. Female serial killer. For years, she's picked up guys in bars, churches, grocery stores, okay? Well, in the internet age, she's having more trouble getting guys to go home with her because they won't take their face out of their phone to actually meet a lovely woman. So she starts hesitantly seeking out men via the dating apps, and that's how that police eventually catch her. There's my storyline pitch for you. And I think this movie should be made. It's just...
I love it. So my allure is I'm hot, but you're saying my picture isn't on the dating apps, and then they just kind of want to meet me because of conversation?
No. Okay. For years, you picked him up the old-fashioned way. The way I met my wife. Angelo's parking lot.
Oh, I see. And then the dating app thing. Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
The disco.
But I have my picture there, and
right now you finally you avoided the public because you're a serial killer. They don't put themselves out there normally.
Well, I remember those old days as well. Believe me, my husband I met on a blind date with mutual friend, right? Does that still happen nowadays? I don't know. I mean, we're divorced now, but we're fine. We're fine. Anyway.
I haven't met a real person in like 10 years. I have no idea. Okay. Let's see. Now, okay. One more question, actual serious question before I toss it over to Joanna. Okay. 1988. You'd only actually been in real acting for like a year, maybe 2 years, according to your IMDb, when you caught Dream Master. Okay.
Well, actually, no. I was acting since I could drive at 15 and a half and did theater, going to high school and doing
Have you met our
plays
fans?
and theater and UCLA, and I'm theater arts degree and all that. But right out of the gate, after I graduated from UCLA and doing theater there is how I got an agent and a manager. And right out of the gate, 4 months, I booked General Hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And then back then you did these other like silks. Didn't do a silk stockings, but I did something like that, just to build our resume, right?
Oh, your resume before Dream Master was
film.
as long as my arm. Don't get me wrong. It was just like, based on IMDb. Now, I'm not going to count theater because I'm a heathen and so are all of our fans. Okay. If it's not on the big screen or on TV, we have no idea. But I'm saying, you had a pretty good run there. It looked to me like you were working like one TV show a week leading up to Dream Master. And
Yes,
then you got that. So, but because you were in theater.
Yeah, the Dream Master was very early on.
You were prepared for that. You were ready for stardom.
Yes, I had studied every kind of acting technique at UCLA. And then even when I was going to UCLA, I studied Grotowski 3 nights a week. I even went to Poland to work with other Grotowski type actors. It's completely different kind of acting. I studied everything. So yeah, I was ready to play Alice. Now, I was trained.
Now that leads
even though they wouldn't audition me at first.
Why?
Well, at that point in time, my headshot, dang, I should have brought it. I'm like makeup, look like I played, cheerleaders and beauty queens and, that kind of thing. Not at all how they pictured Alice Johnson, of course, right? So I was in the discard pile, let's just say like in the trash, but they couldn't find their Alice. So they went back to, and I mean, my manager told me it submitted me for Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I was so excited because I'm a huge horror fan, Nightmare on Elm Street fan. You have no idea. And then he said, they're not going to see you because they just didn't have the look they wanted. And I totally get it, but they couldn't find their Alice. So I finally got the opportunity. And here's a case of wardrobe. I wore pale yellow, my worst color, dirty hair, no makeup. And I read the script and I totally bonded with Alice. I totally understood her, daydreamer and this and that. Anyway, so I finally got the opportunity to audition. I was the last actress cast in Nightmare 4. So I think they were kind of freaking out because Alice obviously is a very important part of Nightmare 4. Right?
See,
They're like, what the heck? We can't find our Alice. So I had an audition. I had one call back that same week on a Friday, and I was getting married that Sunday, 150 people wedding. Okay.
Oh.
Which included even some of the Osmonds coming. Get that. That's through my ex-husband. Anyway, and I learned on my honeymoon that I got the role of Alice. Woo. And then they said, and we want to dye your hair red. You have to understand, I had virgin platinum blonde hair. We want to dye your hair red. And I get it, because Rennie hired all blondes. Kristen, played by Tuesday Night, had to be blonde because she's, Kristen taking on that Patricia Arquette did. Then Debbie, the gal who plays Debbie, platinum blonde hair. So they put on a big 80s wig on her. Really good wig, though, I have to say, for the 80s. And then with me, rinse put on my hair every single morning for weeks. And anyway, I may as well have just dyed it because it stained my hair. It's like that, throwing like throwing blood on a white wall, right? It's going to stain the wall.
I'm pleased to hear that because so many of the actresses that come on here, they didn't even want to do horror early in their career. But according to you, you took it and ran with it.
And back then, to get at least some credits on your resume that are film or, these, kind of, little, I think I did some sitcoms and stuff too, but your manager and agent just wants you to get some film credits. My theater list was very long, but they wanted to make sure you had experience, in front of a camera. Right. And I did have that theater arts degree, which doesn't hurt.
Over to Joanna.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey.
I am such a huge fan of yours, huge fan of the franchise. It is my favorite all time. So I'm definitely going to be asking like some fan base type of questions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yay. So which dream sequence was the hardest for you to film?
Dream sequence, the hardest one. Gosh. Well, I wouldn't say it was physically daunting. In Nightmare 4, how there's the scene in front of the Crave Inn and the repeat scene, and everyone who's watching the film thinks there's a glitch in the film. What's going on? Everyone's so confused, But I had to run around that Crave Inn, I don't know how many times. And then one of my little heads, flew off, and we had to do and then jumping in the car. It was a night shoot, So I guess that would be the hardest dream sequence. It was physically. It was a physical scene, believe it or not, because you see us running. That's really us running over and over and over again.
Oh my gosh! I can't believe you didn't just pass out after all that. How many takes you probably had to do?
Yeah. Okay. Fortunately, I was in fairly good shape, but still, I was a lot of repeat, and that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Right on. So were there any behind the scenes stories that us fans would, be surprised or maybe shocked to hear? Even bloopers. I love bloopers too.
It really ran very smoothly, I'd have to say. There weren't mess up lines or anything like that, because there was no time. This is next. And then, at times there's all these different setups on the stage, and we're doing this scene, and I wrote this other set and this and that and the other. So I cannot say the only blooper would be, it's not really a blooper, but I was doing Nightmare 5, and, I have the shower scene with the body double. Anything you see, that's not my butt, but that's okay. She looked amazing. She made me look fabulous. And also a blooper. So in 5, when I'm the shower, and all of a sudden I'm in this, creepy place naked, and I was wearing this bathing suit with no straps, whole suit. And, when you see my face, that's me, that's not, when you see the back or something like that, that's a body double. But they kept saying, oh, the bathing suit keeps coming in our shot. Could you move it down a little bit more? And I was like, okay, oh, it's still in the shot. Can you move it down more? Eventually I said, you know what? You need to do a closer shot, because this bathing suit is not going down any further.
Yes, you knew what they were trying to do, didn't you?
Well, but it was and I was such a newbie to all of this, but it was no, I'm not going to help your shot. No, I'm not exposing my breasts. Right. Whatever. And I knew enough to go, well, you just need to get a tighter close-up.
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm glad that you self-advocated there. That's awesome.
And I have no problem with actors that do nudity. Go for it. For sure. It just was a choice I made, because I knew, I wanted to have kids, and I just didn't want them to go, oh, I saw your mom naked on the screen. You know what I mean? I just had that. And, that's, back in the 80s, and that's just where my thought process was. So
definitely valid. So were there any like maybe practical effects that they just didn't work or they turned out completely different than what was intended?
Well, yes. Going back to Nightmare 5, because I didn't really have much to do with practical effects in my scenes, really in four, what I scream because I have the power of Joey from Nightmare 3. That's how that came about. Okay, because I pull in everyone's powers. But in 5, they had me. This is the scene where I'm all warriored up and I'm looking in the mirror and I'm going to jump through the mirror. So for that scene, they had me on a stage that was about, oh gosh, probably about 4 feet, a little like platform. And then there's a mirror in front of me and the camera's on the other side. And then they say, oh, what's going to happen is the candy glass is just, there's little explosives and it's just going to go off and then it's just going to kind of crackle and fall down, right? Before I pretend to, start the motion to jump through the mirror. Well, let's call they had bombs on this mirror.
Oh my gosh.
So action and they explode. I was literally thrown off this platform that I was on. And fortunately, there happened to be a stunt coordinator in, kind of watching the scene down, standing on the ground, and he caught me. But I had the candy glass all over. And of course, I was completely traumatized, So they actually did send me home that day, and it was just, sets are dangerous. I mean, we've all read about things that can happen on huge productions even, So anyway, so that they had to kind of redo how they were going to do that scene. So.
Oh my gosh. Were there any other things like that happened where you were almost injured or injured?
No.
Okay. Oh gosh.
I always felt safe. And they always have, the assistants are, because sets are there's electrical wires and plugs and all kinds of stuff. And they come and get you when you're going on to, let's say, the stage, they have a flashlight and lead you and help you and make sure you don't trip or fall or anything, they're very protective of their actors. But, things happen. They just do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, very awesome. All right. I'm going to turn it back to Wes.
We'll be right back after this message.
Are you a fan of horror movies, books, comics, music, and collectibles? Rue Morgue magazine is for you. Subscribe today to receive 6 or 12 print issues annually and join me, executive editor Andrea Subasati, on an ongoing journey through the horror genre of the past, present, and future. Plus, get access to unmissable special editions such as A Century of Witches, 50 Years of Gore Cinema, British horror movies, and so much more. Rue Morgue, the world's premier horror and culture and entertainment magazine since 1997. Accept no substitute.
And welcome back, everybody, to our special episode with Lisa Wilcox. Okay, nunchucks in part 4.
No.
Was that your butt double, or did you actually have to learn those?
I and also Andres Jones, who plays my brother Rick, they did send us to karate school for a day so we could learn how to manipulate them enough without hurting ourselves or others.
Yeah. First time I ever picked up a pair, I hurt myself, so that's why I was asking. Okay.
But they're stunt doubles. Amazing. I mean, when you see the front of me looking in the mirror, like doing the nunchucks, that's totally me. That's totally me. I mean, I knew how to swing them around and I do. But from the back, when, as I get better, the back is a stunt double who was actually, 4 inches taller than I am and had shoulders like this. She was awesome. And as we all know, that wig that she was wearing was terrible.
I didn't notice.
Because sometimes I've done, well, now you're going to see. But when I've done some appearances at like theaters, cinemas, and watched the movie together, and I give my, behind the scene, okay, notice the set. And they're like, oh my God. And some people have already noticed, yeah, that was a really bad wig. It did not look like Alice was there. But you know, there you go.
Now, just to go back and harp on the thing about you playing moms, I was refreshed that you played a real estate agent in Teddy Told Me.
Yes.
Where was that film? That was the most incredible set piece movie I've ever seen in independent film.
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Now, was that an
Boulder
actual
City and Boulder City in Las Vegas? Yeah.
Okay, was that like an they already had a haunted attraction there? They said, "Ooh, let's film in it," or did they have to gather this shit up?
Yes. Well, where I filmed, because I didn't have a big role in it,
Right.
but you know where I filmed. Oh no, it was already an established building and this, that, and the other. And I never go inside it, so I imagine, but I'm pretty sure the interior too is that same building.
Okay.
And Tom Devlin, I think, owned that property. So anyway, and Tom Devlin, who has Tom Devlin's Monster Museum in Boulder City. If you ever guys are in Vegas or whatever, you got to go to his museum. And I just adore Tom and his wife and kids. They're wonderful. And then he said that my character was completely based on some family member or something. And he was like, "You nailed it." It's wonderful.
The one thing everybody that is one hidden gem of hers that I did find. It's a fun movie to watch. The only thing I'm going to warn you, don't count on too many people surviving that movie. I don't. I'm just going to say there's no final girls in that movie. Now, give you one more. Here's a softball for you. What do you do in what little spare time you apparently have?
Oh gosh. Let's see. I love tennis.
Me too.
And when I have spare time or I try to fit it in, I have a granddaughter in Los Angeles, and I live in Vegas now. But anyway, so you know, to FaceTime her and you know, getting her little gifts and stuff, and you know, I get to California most of the time for work, and then of course I always fit in my trip to make sure I see them. And I love interior design. So I'm always like helping someone with their house, decorating ideas. It's a passion of mine. And I have to say, I'm totally addicted to shows like Forensic Files, Criminal Minds, Hoarders. I love Dr. D in Alaska, veterinarian shows, right? I tell you, I love it. So at the end of the day, when I'm home, it's like, yes. However, I did just recently, I watched Song Song Blue last night. Do you know the Neil Diamond movie? It was nominated.
With Hugh Jackman.
It's amazing. In my opinion, it should have won. I'm telling you, it was so good. And today, I went to a matinee. I played hooky for a few hours and saw Project Hail Mary.
That one.
It was wonderful. It was wonderful.
Over to you.
All right. So I have to ask about some interactions with Robert on set. Okay. So Robert Englund, he's always said that Freddie has like this special respect for Alice. Did he ever like talk to you about that Freddie Alice dynamic?
Yes. Robert Englund we all call him Uncle Robert. I mean, we've all known each other, and doing the convention circuit, and we just genuinely love each other. It's particularly Nightmare 4 cast. I don't know. It's like I tell Annette Benson, who was the casting director for the first original Nightmare all the way through Nightmare 5. And she actually lives here in Vegas now. Anyway, she has said, I've told her, like, you cast like friendships for life. Not only did you cast good, perfect actors for the characters, and of course the director has a lot to say about the casting, but she's the one who finds us, you know? So anyway, in fact, recently I was really surprised he was getting an award. It could have been Scarefest, actually. I don't know. He was getting a separate award at the hotel, and me and Heather we're sitting at the round table to hear his acceptance speech, and this was just before he was getting his star on Hollywood Boulevard. Big ordeal. Anyway, he said to the group, the whole, thing filled up, to thank me for my performance of Alice and how dynamic I was. So to hear that from the man publicly, well, needless to say, it's something I'll never forget. So
that's amazing.
It's crazy. Listen, I'm a little girl born in Missouri. I got into acting in high school all by accident. My father moved us all to California because he was offered a great job in Newport Beach. So never in my wildest dreams. And you understand, I was already a horror fan since I was little, starting with black and whites that would play on Saturday afternoons, after cartoons. That's what a Saturday was in the 70s. Anyway, so yeah, never dreamed I'd be working with Robert Englund or sitting there in a chair on Hollywood Boulevard while he accepts his star. And he winked at me because I was like here and the star is there. Amanda Wiss and I have like great seats. A lot of the cast was there, but he winked at me because his wife, Nancy, went, how can I explain it? I'm calling Amanda. I'm asking Nancy at Robert's wife, like, what are you guys going to wear to this? It's 11 in the morning. I don't really want to wear black, and I was thinking I'll wear red and green. And they're like, well, we'll probably go wear pantsuits or whatever. So Nancy, his wife, is wearing all black because I typically wear all black to these shows. One, I like black on me. It's good in photos. Also, there have been Sharpie experiences that Sharpie goes flying and ruins my favorite beaded hot pink halter top. But anyway, he looks at me and he mouths, she's doing a Lisa because she wore black and it was sexy with the boots and everything. So I don't know what to say. We just have such mutual respect for each other.
Oh my gosh, that warms my heart so much to hear. I love that.
He's getting started, and then his wife comes down, and anyway, so yeah.
Very awesome. Okay, so I have to ask, do you remember the first time you saw Robert in full Freddy makeup? What was your honest reaction?
I actually saw him with his makeup being built because reminding you, I had to have this rinse put on my hair every day. Now, when a rinse is put on, it's not like you can towel dry your hair. Your hair is sopping wet with the rinse. They would have like 2 blow dryers going to dry my hair kind of thing. And he's in the trailer becoming Freddy,
Wow.
So he's getting that done. And I'm, they're doing the rinse and combing it out, whatever. And so we got to have all kinds of fun discussions. Like, I remember he was remodeling, they were remodeling their bathroom, and we were talking about grout colors for the tile.
That's so cool.
I mean, Freddie, and I'm becoming Alice. So we had a lot of fun. So I saw the whole process right in front of me.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
I know.
How special. This is very cool. All right, I'm going to turn it back to Wes.
And here we go. It's time to get into some announcements. Before we talk about guests, let's highlight a new event happening at Spawn. Show and Tell. This is the first time event that we are doing. Boy, my audio is off tonight and it's not coming out of my mouth. This is the first time event we are doing where we ask you all to bring in the coolest thing from your collection and proudly display it. Whether it's rare, weird, nostalgic, or just something you love, we want to see it. Now, on to the guests. We're starting with Spawn of Scarefest 2026 and 2 guests for the event. First up, Danny Hassel. Announcing Danny Hassel, you know him as Dan Jordan from A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, and The Dream Child, the All-American jock who went head-to-head with Freddy Krueger and paid the ultimate price. Danny is also going to be sporting some cool prosthetics from his iconic last scene, so keep your eyes open for a cool photo opportunity. Next up, Samantha Scafidi is joining David Howard Thornton. You know her from the Terrifier franchise, including Terrifier, Terrifier 2, and Terrifier 3, helping bring the chaotic, blood-soaked world of Art the Clown to life. That series has taken over modern horror, and he's heading to Lexington for our first ever Spawn Hotel takeover. Now let's jump into Scarefest Weekend 18. First up, Christopher Allen Nelson, an Academy Award-winning special effects artist whose work helped bring Michael Myers back to the screen in the Halloween trilogy. Some of you may know him as one of the creators of the Thing with Two Heads podcast with Sean Clark. He's also worked on Kill Bill, Sin City, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. This is the guy behind the monsters. Next, Michael Ironside. From Scanners to Visiting Hours and Turbo Kid, he's built a career playing some of the most intense and unforgettable characters in horror and sci-fi. And finally, Sean S. Cunningham. This is a man who launched one of the most legendary slasher franchises of all time and helped define the golden age of horror. From Friday the 13th to Last House on the Left and the House films, his impact on the genre is undeniable. And a little reminder, there are less than 10 VIP packages remaining for Spawn at Fearfest. So if you were thinking you might want to go VIP for Spawn, you need to get in there. Less than 10 left. Quick update on our deadlines. 4-1 staff volunteer applications open. Everything else has happened. We're done. This graphic is done after this week. But staff applications do open on April 1st. This weekend, the lovely Joanna and myself will be at Vet CityCon in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Stop by. We'll have a little Scarefest merch. We'll be hanging out, talking to y'all, have info on the show. Just stop by and say hi to us and meet her. Forget about me. I'm nobody, but I know you want to meet her. And then next week, won't be any Scarefest TV. Sorry, boys. Lexington Comic Con. We will be at Lexington Comic Con. Myself, Katie Followell, Barbara Jane. We're all tied up next weekend. I might try to do a live, but whenever I say that, I don't do it. So I'm just going to say I won't do it, and then maybe I will. Who knows? All right, that's our announcements. Back to our guest, Lisa Wilcox. Okay. Opinion piece. And Nightmare on Elm Street is a perfect example of it. Remakes. Are you a fan of them taking movies and just reimagining them, however you want to put it? But not sequels, remakes.
I honestly am not opposed to them trying to revitalize this series, to try, the attempt to do so. And, sometimes they're successful and sometimes not, So that's how I feel about them.
Okay. Now, since I've worked for Scarefest and got to talk to these lovely people like yourself, now when I go back and watch particularly the older movies and I know the people in it, I can't help but laugh a lot of times. Do you look back at some of the old, and I'm just talking about movies, not yours necessarily, but you're friends with so-and-so now, and you're watching this movie of theirs that's a classic, and you look at that and go, God, that was a dumb choice, or ha ha ha, they're bleeding now, ha ha ha.
I guess, I don't know. I haven't watched that many remakes myself.
Well, I'm just wondering because, the movie, Nightmare on Elm Street, that was to me the earliest movie, talking about going back to one, but the whole franchise, that was the earliest movie that I remember. I put it this way. That is the first horror movie that sticks in my mind. In other words, I remember that movie. I remember, the whole thing. So, but now when I watch a movie like that, I'm going through it, that was stupid. That was, I just wonder if you're a critic like that, of once the actors involved.
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know what you're asking me exactly.
Well, I caught myself laughing at uncomfortable places in a movie this week. That's what I'm asking. I just wonder if other people do that.
Do what?
Laugh at places in the movie that they shouldn't have laughed at because they know the people doing the acting. In other words, I kind of lose. I've lost some of my suspension of disbelief.
I lose myself in the film. Okay. I don't judge the acting or the story, or I've never walked out on a film in my life. I'm like, they're giving a good Boy Scout try here.
Okay.
Or good Girl Scout try here. And so, no, I can't say I'm really a critic. I really act like an audience member, just enjoying the experience, you know? And
I've only recently started doing it, so. Okay,
and
on a
then at the
related
end
note.
of the film, I'm like, I really enjoyed that. I liked that scene. I liked, you know, that actress was really good, or that actor, you know, maybe that, I don't know if that casting was right on that person, but, and when I'm out watching it, no, I'm completely involved because I know how much work it is for us actors, and I know all the work it takes for production and the director and the producers and all, you know, all of that. So. Okay.
One more, kind of related. When you're making a movie, okay? Like The Nightmare. Do you ever start questioning the script decisions? Like, for example, okay, Dream Master. You're a high school student. Did you ever like stand there and go, wow, they're really invested in keeping the school open after all these kids died? Do you ever question the logic, or are you just in character and bulldoze through?
No, I'm not gonna have. No.
Okay, fair enough.
The script is the script. The story is the story. And it's very rare that I'll approach the director. You know, there might be a line.
I don't mean approaching by hell no. That's your job. No, get the paycheck. You know, I'm good with that. I'm just like, okay, I watch the Friday the 13th movies and I go, close it. It's just a camp. After the third or fourth time, you just say, you know, okay. Toss over to Joanna. I've done lost her.
I get the script. I do the role the best I can. I'm not telling other actors what to do or the writer what to do or anything. I am hired. I've gotten the role. I've auditioned. They believe in me that I'm the right person for this job. And I don't sit back and go, no, I think that the scene should go like that or da, 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 da. That does not happen. The way it's written, I will make that scene work because that's what the writer wrote. That's what's been approved by production. That's what's been approved by the director. And it's my job as an actor to make it work and be believable.
And that's why you're a working actress and I'm a podcast host.
But I will tell you just something interesting with Nightmare 4. So you have to understand, this role was definitely, it was a complicated one because Alice, you know, daydreamer, wallflower, right? But we don't film in sequence, right?
Right.
So I had to make sure it was believable that Alice went from, you know, meek to kick ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're not filming in sequence. So in my script, I literally would write for every single scene who had died by then, whose powers had Alice collected, right? Because we could be filming scene, you know, 40 in the morning and then we're doing scene 3, right, of the script. Completely different levels of Alice's powers, you know, and her confidence, right? So that was a tricky, and that's something as an actor I was determined to make it believable, you know, that she had this gradual evolution, you know, and I believe I nailed it. You know, you don't go that actor, all of a sudden she's a powerhouse. No, that doesn't make sense. I had to be very subtle and conscious of every single, you know, scene as far as for the believability factor. So,
Joanna.
Yes, Lisa, you did the damn thing.
Thank you.
Yes. So you were talking about, how you absorbed Alice absorbed everybody's powers in both or in part 4. So we often, we the fans, we often debate whether Alice's power set kind of made her a kind of a Dream Warrior hybrid. Would you agree with something like that?
I love that. I totally am going to steal that from you. Yes, I love because Dream Warriors. I loved Dream Warriors. And mind you, I think I was just out of college or whatever. And I had the biggest crush on Joey, played by Rodney. Oh my gosh,
yes.
He was gorgeous. I loved him. Anyway, and he knows this to this day. And I actually went to his wedding about 4 years ago. Anyway, we're all friends, right? But he knows that. Yeah. Hey, Rodney, you want to go on a date? Anyway,
Right.
that was a tangent. Sorry, where were we? Yes, I like that Dream Warrior thing. And the thing is, too, like I even said earlier in the podcast here that, I even took on Joey's thing because the scream that he does in 3.
Mm-hmm.
I do that scream and the windows explode. That was a Joey power. Ken Sagos, who plays, he liked to cuss. Fucking A, fuck, Did you ever think Alice would have a cuss word come out of her mouth? No, but he passed and I brought on his powers. And another thing is too, I love, so when Kristen dies and she gives me the ability, I pick up her bad habits. I pick up bad habits too. All of a sudden I'm smoking. I'm smoking. And I'm like, I don't smoke. What the hell is going on here? So it just was such I don't know. I think a fantastic script. Great story. Great storytelling. That script.
Very much. So with that, do you think that Freddie feared Alice more than he feared the Dream Warriors?
Yes, I do. Because he's fighting Alice that has all the Dream Warriors powers.
Yes.
As well as the new cast members in Nightmare 4. So he had to have reason to be a little scared. I think I think so. Yeah. And mind you, of course, he never ever ended up getting me, right?
No, not at all.
Her son Jacob go off into the sunset.
So a lot of us fans, we feel that Alice is the true successor of Nancy Thomas. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would just say this in the sense that Alice never comes back like playing herself. Alice never comes back. Like Alice's character is completely this capsule of Alice Johnson and not playing anything outside the box or pretending to be it's a whole different thing. So, I mean, Alice is probably really, truly the final girl, but I love Nancy's character too. So I don't know. And people have come to my table and say, you really are the true final girl because Freddie literally never got me, I beat him twice. So.
Damn right.
Sorry, fans out there, if you disagree, but I've asked the question and, Nancy is totally a final girl too. And believe me, her line's a lot longer than mine. However, I still do fine at conventions. Anyway,
yes.
You can't dismiss the original Nightmare on Elm Street, Amanda West, Freddy's first kill, and Heather Langenkamp. And we're all great friends. So
very awesome. All right, turn it back to Wes.
Let's go to see our Bonehead Weekly interview or movie review.
Hey, Scarefest fans, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly, and this week I'm reviewing a movie that was done a few years ago, finally got released independently back in the fall, and is now on the Hulus. That's right, we're talking about a remake called The Toxic Avenger. Now, if you're a fan of the original Troma films and Lloyd Kaufman, this movie's so going to work for you. I've got to be honest, I met and have spent time with Lloyd. He's been on Bonehead Weekly. We had a great time. I have several stories, but never really cared much for the movies. Like John Waters, I'm a big fan of John Waters, but not a huge fan only of a couple of the movies. My friend Chad loves the movies, so he and Lloyd hit it off. We all got along with Lloyd. When they were talking about the remake of The Toxic Avenger, I thought that's a dumb idea. It doesn't work. And then they got the cast with Elijah Wood's in this, Kevin Bacon's in this, they had Peter Dinklage playing the Toxic Avenger. None of this made sense to me. And then the movie got put on a shelf because some people said it was unreleasable. I was like, oh gosh, it's so bad. Well, they finally released it, and I couldn't make it to the theater to see it. I know a lot of you Scarefest fans did. And I finally got to watch it on Hulu months ago. Sorry, I'm a little late getting to this. I love this movie. This movie is so well done. If you were it spends a little bit more money than Lloyd ever did, and it's very true to the source material, and not necessarily just the source material, but the tone of those original films. The stupidness, the silliness, the random cuts like Lloyd would do to a set of breasts towards the end, the blood, the just dumb jokes, the fart and poop humor and things like that. It's directed by a guy named Malcolm Blair, who I only knew as an actor. I've not really watched any of his movies. He did a wonderful movie called Blue Ruin that'll just depress the heck out of you. I completely recommend it. This guy really knocks it out of the park. I was not a huge fan of the original Toxic Avenger films. I've seen most of them, but I don't ever want to watch them. Chad was always the big fan. The morning of the night, that morning before he was getting married, he was at my place, and I was going to be, we're the best man, and then James was there, the Boneheads. And he was watching Sergeant Kabuki Man the morning before he got married or something like that, or Toxic Avenger. He just loves him. And he thought I would hate this movie, but I didn't, because I feel like they did the best they could do. It's not a huge budget. There's some remarks out there that this cost $200 million. Clearly this is shot in Bulgaria as cheaply as possible. Just more money than Lloyd ever had. And a lot of it works. I know that that's not Peter Dinklage in the suit. He's just doing the voiceover, but it all works. There's nothing about this movie that I can throw a rock at, other than it's fairly faithful to the tone. And I see when a studio's put up the money and then looks at it and goes, we can't release this. This is a trauma movie, right? Trauma films are for a certain aesthetic, or have a certain aesthetic, and they're for a certain audience. And this movie is no exception. It's really one of the best trauma films I've ever seen. I think everybody's great in it. I wish they'd actually gave Elijah Wood a little bit more to do, as hideous as he is in this. But I can't throw a rock. This movie is really good, really faithful to the tone and the spirit of what Lloyd had done before. And not all the jokes land, but enough of them land that I kept giggling and was shocked how much I enjoyed it throughout. So should you watch the Toxic Avenger remake that's currently on the Hulus? Yes, go out and watch it. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. See you in a few months.
And we're back with our last few moments with Lisa Wilcox. Okay. Forget the movies for a minute. You, in your early career at least, you did a lot of television. What was your favorite TV experience? I just want to put it in that, not your favorite part necessarily, but where you enjoyed the experience the most. Do you remember?
Yes. There's many. But one, I'm going to make two. First, I actually did Walker, Texas Ranger.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say, rest in peace, Chuck Norris. That was an amazing experience that we filmed in Texas. And anyway, next I want to say I did, they did a few of these sort of behind the scenes kind of TV movies. And I did one behind the scenes, The Brady Bunch. And so I got to play Florence Henderson and Carol Brady and the Brady Bunch set. I mean, and the clothes. And they did my hair with a wig. Remember when she did her hair kind of here with little straggly things? That was so cool. I am telling you, never would I dream I would get to play Florence Henderson and the beloved Carol Brady, right? So, yeah, that one stands out to me a lot.
All right. That's a good note to end the show on. Lisa, thank you so much for finally being able to chisel out a few minutes of your time for tonight. Joanna, I guess I will see you tomorrow. And go ahead and next week on Scarefest TV, don't forget there is no next week on Scarefest TV. There is no next week on Scarefest TV. Everybody's see you next time.
Ciao.